Hi, it's Angie with News OK, and this Saturday, which is August 16th, marks the death anniversary of Elvis Presley. It's been 31 years since he passed away. Now, today joining me, I have an Elvis tribute artist, and this is Mike Black. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate you having me here.
This is fabulous. I love the costume. Your wife actually made this, is that correct?
Right. Yes, my wife and
Very
my daughter.
Talented.
And my sister-in-law had a little help in it, too.
Nice, nice. Tell us what you do as an Elvis tribute artist.
Well, basically try, number one, to keep the memory of the King of Rock and Roll's, memory alive through performing. And, of course, in my opinion, if you're going to be an Elvis tribute artist, you've got to be able to sing and sing like Elvis Presley.
Yeah.
There are a lot of guys out there, and even some ladies, that try to impersonate Elvis that may have the look, but they don't have the voice, or they have the voice, but they don't have the look.
Right.
I try to come across as an Elvis tribute artist that has a little of both.
Yeah.
I do try to pride myself on especially sounding like Elvis. Because his voice was so special and so magnificent that it's hard to match him, but it's definitely a reward for me and an honor for me to be able to try to do that.
So obviously he did mean something to you.
Oh yeah, and I will tell you that actually in my young years growing up. And before I actually got to see him in concert.
Oh, wow.
I was not a real big fan of his. I think more it was jealousy more than anything else. Because, if you just look at Elvis Presley, even as a teen, I said, man, he's a good-looking guy, you know? And, my wife was always a big Elvis fan.
Right.
And always, really loved Elvis. So it was easy to get her gifts if I bought her something that had to do with Elvis.
Nice.
But she was always telling me how she couldn't stand Elvis impersonators because there was only one Elvis Presley, which of course there is.
And now look at you.
And now, and of course, what started all that was I've been performing for a long time before I started doing Elvis, over 30 years, and but I've always loved old rock and roll, still do. Of course, I grew up with that music, and grew up with some Elvis's music. And so when I was growing up, I would sing along with some of his material and stuff, and other artists too, of course. When I got married to my wife, and we'd probably been married, I don't know, about over 10 years, I'd say, I decided to start my own band. And whenever I started my own band, I wanted to do old rock and roll.
Yeah.
Because, of course, being in Oklahoma, there are a lot of country bands, as you well know.
Right. And then, I remember you telling this story earlier. So then someone says, hey, do Elvis for us.
Right.
And you're like, but you did, and that's what got you started. That's so neat.
Yeah. We went to a club owner called me one day and said, hey, I want you to do an Elvis show because it's the anniversary of the death of Elvis Presley. And I said, well, I don't even have a costume. And he says, we will get you a costume. We want you to do this show.
Wow.
I was pretty uneasy about doing it, and I did make a lot more effort of studying his moves and everything along with that. It was a big success, as you said. And so the next thing you know, people are calling me wanting to do Elvis shows, and I didn't even have a costume. So I turned to my wife and I said, honey, what do you think? I said, I think I can do this. And she goes, well, we'll make you a costume, but only if you do a good job, because you know how I feel about Elvis impersonators, that kind of thing.
Oh, wow.
So the rest is history, as they say. So.
I love it. Well, you're doing a great job. Obviously, we had the privilege of watching you perform and sing, and we've got a video on that, so our viewers can watch that as well. So you had to get down not only his voice and his look, but like you said, even his moves. So what was the hardest part? The singing, the performing, or just the persona, just the
Actually,
being Elvis?
For me, it's the persona and some of the moves, because Elvis was very unique. There's no other artist. There's a couple of artists that obviously copied Elvis after Elvis, but Elvis had his own, he had his own way of doing things on stage. But the thing that mattered to me the most, even besides the moves, was entertaining the audience.
Yeah.
because that's one thing that Elvis definitely did, is he entertained the audience. So when I do a show, I try to make sure that I entertain the audience. I always have to have a wireless mic because I can't stay on the stage. I have to get down in the audience with the ladies, especially. Of
now,
course.
did Elvis have a wireless mic?
No, he didn't. He didn't. But if he'd have been around here now, he would have.
He sure would have. No,
he would have, no doubt about it.
You do a wonderful job.
Thank you.
Really do.
Thank you.
Obviously, a very good entertainer. And tell us your website again.
Stingrays, that's with an S, Stingrays, OK, like Oklahoma.com.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.